North of 95 degrees. Humidity coming up. Just a chance of thunderstorms and a chance that the roof may be closed. I'm Chris Fowler. Welcome back to ESPN2's coverage of the season's first Grand Slam on the Australian version of Independence Day. It celebrates the founding of the Commonwealth back in 1788. This, of course, is the 100th birthday of the Australian Open, and the Aussies have a whole lot to celebrate. It is festive here because Alicia Molik, who now lives in Melbourne, is moved through to the quarterfinals of the Grand Slam for the first time. She's in the top 10, the first Aussie woman to be there in 20 years, and she'll take on Lindsay Davenport. She's got a great motto: don't die wondering, which means basically just go for it, and that's reflected in her big hitting tennis. Of course, Lindsay Davenport comes down here, world #1, hungry for just one more Grand Slam title. And Andy Roddick, hungry as well. He's had a very comfortable draw to get through to the quarterfinals. Nikolai Davydenko, though, the Russian backcourt buzzsaw, he hasn't dropped a set. Roddick hasn't dropped a set to him in their previous meetings, but he needs to be wary of the Russian. Of course, this place still buzzing about the incredible performance.
Four-time major champion, Alicia Molik really took it to her. She used her big serve. The forehand is her weapon. Her game revolves around that shot, and when things got close, 5-all in the second set, Alicia Molik played her best stuff. She kept it low. Look at this get on the run. Much improved movement from Alicia Molik. That's one of the reasons we're seeing her win so many matches. She's won 3 tournaments in the last few months, including the warm-up tournament in Sydney. And the second set would go to a tiebreak, and Molik would keep her cool, keep her belief, and she said, I'm going to go out in this match, play my game, and not wait for Venus to make mistakes. And that's what she did. But Chris, she's going from playing her biggest match in her career to now playing an even bigger one against Lindsay Davenport on Australia Day. So what an occasion for this young woman, 23 years of age.
Saw her about an hour ago, eating by herself in the media restaurant, very low-key. Davenport's an opponent that has just dominated her head-to-head, but she's been getting payback against a lot of those opponents because she's so improved in the last year. Really a late bloomer. Extraordinary to have somebody zoom from kind of the mid-30s up to that top 10 at her age.
It's terrific, but when you look at Lindsay Davenport, she was sort of a late bloomer as well. She was a good junior, but she didn't start doing well in the professional level until 21, 22, so there's a little similarity there. Lindsay Davenport, she's got respect for Alicia Molik. She knows she can serve big. I think for Davenport, she's got to get a lot of first serves in and then just control the point from there.
Hopefully she won't remember in October in Filderstadt, Lindsay Davenport 6-1, 6-0 over Molik. So hopefully that was only 4 months ago.
It's a totally different matchup today, though.
Only 4 months ago. I'm thinking Lindsay's going to remember that real good.
And Molik hopefully is forgetting it.
Yeah.
You can see from her ball toss from the forehand that she did grow up watching Steffi Graf. I think it's a little bit reminiscent of her.
Yeah, and she's, similar, height, a little bit bigger, but, very similar forehand, serve, one-handed backhand. Definitely grew up idolizing her. Not a bad person to grow up idolizing.
So Davenport and Molik coming up. By the way, Patty Schneeder, Natalie Deschy relegated to Margaret Court Arena. That's the other quarterfinal today. We'll update that one. But when you come back, Lindsay versus Alicia on Rod Laver Arena.
ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the 2005 Australian Open is brought to you by Thank You from Citi, a new kind of rewards program from a card you can count on.
Well, here in Melbourne, kind of a hot and breezy garden party going on outside Rod Laver Arena. All eyes there on the Jumbotron, and inside the arena, all Aussie eyes on Alicia Molik on a patriotic day for this country. She tries to take down the top seed American Lindsay Davenport. Inside to Dick Enberg and Pam Shriver.
All right, Chris, thank you. And it is the weight of a desperate nation on the shoulders of 23-year-old Alicia Molik. It's been 27 years since an Aussie won this championship on the women's side, Chris O'Neill. And in a way, it's going to be the weight of serve of these two of the biggest women on tour that might decide the difference.
Well, Dick, this is one of the biggest serving matches I've seen in women's tennis ever coming up. And Alicia Molik, the least known of the two, has a beautiful serve. I think the best serve in women's tennis, combination first serve, second serve. She's going to need to take risks against Davenport, one of the best returners, and hit all 6 spots in the court. Her second serve is something to watch, and she's also going to have to attack the second serve of Lindsay Davenport. It's all about gambling for Molik.
15,000 at Rod Laver Arena, and you can well imagine how much they're going to cheer for their own. She'll be 24 years old tomorrow. On this national holiday, Alicia Molik of Australia serves to #1 Lindsay Davenport.
She's about 6 foot tall, born in Adelaide, the same town as Leighton Hewitt, lives now here in Melbourne in a great section called Toorak, has a neat little home that she fixed up in the last 12 months. 9-6 here at the Australian Open.
One criticism that Australian coaches had of her as she grew up through the ranks was that she was too nice. Well, the last year she's put a tiger in her tank and has advanced all the way to number 10. Been a couple of decades since an Aussie woman was in the top 10.
You know, sometimes people say the same thing about Davenport, that she's got such a nice demeanor, and does she have tiger in the tank? Well, obviously winning 3 majors and Olympic gold, Davenport's proven that she has what it takes. And Molik, a late bloomer, is trying to figure out whether or not she can get to the top. Winning some of those long rallies. Aussie crowd excited at the first point for Molik, but winning some of those baseline rallies will be crucial for Molik today.
No one hits it more purely from the baseline than Lindsay Davenport, both wings, and she's earned 2 quick break points.
One of the things Molik did so well the other night against Venus Williams was fight off break points. She fought off 6 of 7 break points against Venus.
On a 12-match win streak is Molik. Davenport working the backhand of Molik, her weaker side, and takes the quick lead. Alicia Molik, toast to the nation. All are wondering why this recent success.
Results in good tennis come from hard work and dedication and believing in yourself and I guess persistence, perseverance. They're all things that I've done ever since I guess I picked up a tennis racket. I always give 100% on the court. I've been willing to listen to my coach and changes with my game. I've been willing to work at parts of my game. I've been very open to suggestions. So, I mean, you can't really pick one thing, but I'm very motivated. And I guess when you get rewards like today, you realise, and it really hits you why you put all those hours in on a tennis court, why you train so much, why you go to the gym, why you do all those things. You do all those things so you can come through with a victory like I did tonight against Venus.
So the reward reaped by eliminating Venus Williams. She had not beaten Williams in their 3 meeting, and she's not taken a set off Davenport in their previous 3 meetings.
That's David Taylor, her coach since 2001, a good old Aussie, and her fitness trainer, Chris Knight, has played a big role in improved fitness for Alicia Molik, who's just a tad under 6 foot tall. Davenport at 6'2½".
Hit the line, and 40 love on her serve.
Davenport has been in this match, Dick, 26 times to a quarterfinals of a major. For Molik, it's her first go. Of course, it's her national championship. Davenport's coming out settled and ready to go from first ball.
And the ace for Davenport, who's lost only 1 point in the opening 2 games.
2 games off.
Lindsay with 45 titles. She's one of 10 women in Open history to win more than 40. Currently tied with Martina Hingis for number 9 at 45, plus her 35 doubles titles, 3 Grand Slam singles. There's the big serve.
That's hitting the corners. That's one of the 6 spots I was talking about. You got to be able to go out wide on both courts, up the center on both courts, and into the body of Davenport. That's your 6.
There's in the body. But you can see off the opening ball how much stronger off the ground Davenport is, especially on that backhand.
A hard court record. Lindsay Davenport has just been phenomenal on hard courts her whole career. She won the U.S. Open Series last summer in the States by going on a big winning streak. Here's Alicia Molik's parents have come in from Adelaide. Her brother's here. Pete Smiley, lower left, her manager and agent and close friend whose wife played the tour for a long time. There's David Taylor, and also the fitness coach, Chris Knight, wearing the Australian rules football type jersey. Center of the court some, and as soon as she went off center, she gave Davenport the cross-court forehand that started to set up the point. Molik is a better mover than Davenport, but she's still not that great a mover, and these are the kind of rallies that favor the American. It's already a big point in the match.
The second ball and a good serve. You can see she has one of the best in the women's game, but Davenport a deep return and another break point.
Well, that's why it's a fun matchup. Best server in women's tennis against the best returner. You could argue a couple other names in there.
There's the ace, well needed. First of the match for Molik.
Well, and she's served 30 in the tournament so far. That's a lot going into the quarterfinals for a female. And a play that Molik has already gone to early is the serve out wide on the deuce court. Opens up, gets Davenport on the run.
For Molik, Davenport in the lead, 2-1. Things are hopping. All the good luck charms are out as the Aussies hope to be able to celebrate a victory with their #1 player, Alicia Molik. Davenport, however, with a 2-1 lead, and there's the woman who dominated this sport 30 years ago, the 1970 Grand Slam holder, and as you can see, an amazing 11 championships here.
7 in a row, and defeated Yvonne Goolagong in a final in the glory years, really, of Australian women's tennis, when they had 2 legends in the making. Margaret Court and Yvonne Goolagong, who's also here. In a big drought, though.
15-all.
Double fault from Davenport, her first. Margaret Court will present the women's champion the trophy on Saturday, and she obviously is open in her support of Molik. She likes her game very much. She, too, was a very tall, strong player. Big serve.
Molik also possesses a pretty good chip slice backhand, and I think that's the better one to work on. I think to try and knife the return short, keep it low out of the strike zone of Davenport instead of trying to hit over it.
service hit.
But you see that chip backhand down the line? That was one of those slices that stayed low. It got Davenport on the run, and it was way out of the strike zone where Davenport likes it. That's when you say thank you, net cord, if you're Alicia Molik. Davenport trying to figure out if she can go there again. Repeat the same serve.
Oh, another double fault. 2 in this game. And it's Molik with a chance to break that.
Adam Peterson has been coaching Davenport for a couple of years now. Very quiet, soft-spoken man.
Oh, some good defense by Molik. Earns her the break back. It's 2-all. Meanwhile, outside, tuning up for his match that will follow this one at Rod Laver. Number 2 seed Andy Roddick. He'll play Nikolai Davydenko, who has been one of the surprises in the men's tournament. 26th ranked in the world, Davydenko.
Roddick looking to pick up his level now in the quarterfinals. Hasn't been all that happy, especially in the last round. But the crowd now, this is what Molik wanted. Molik wanted this crowd to be a factor. Davenport, you know, you don't play in women's tennis that much. Not like we go to England and play against someone like Henman on the men's side. There hasn't been a player from England for years and years on the women's side. Same in Australia. She's from the United States, so it's not a factor at the Open. Maybe Mauresmo at the French would be the only time in a major where the crowd could be a factor.
And she gets the net cord winner. Able to turn on that backhand.
Having time when you play Lindsay Davenport is something that you're desperate to get. You don't always have it, but right here, the loopy approach shot gives Molik enough time, and she goes ahead and gambles with that big swinging backhand.
Building off that break of the last game. Has a big lead here for 3-2.
Already seen a huge momentum switch. Davenport started so well, dominated the first couple of games. Molik had a hard time winning a point, but she's changed it all around. She's settled in nicely, controlling her adrenaline.
Her first double fault.
Mentioned the 30 aces coming into this match, only 7 double faults. But against Davenport, you've got to stretch yourself on the second serve. You've got to be willing to go for a little bit more.
Molik has registered a 122-mile-an-hour serve, one of the fastest in the championship. Her fastest thus far in this match, 112.
Sweaty palm time in this service game for Molik. She had 40 love. You hate to see deuce.
Molik holds on serve in the opening set, 3-2.
Covering more than 300 hours of the Australian Open, the French Open, and the championships, Wimbledon. ESPN, the Grand Slam Network.
She's the oldest left in the championship at 28, Lindsay Davenport, and she's been very comfortable, hasn't she, Pam, in her Hall of Fame career. She has Hall of Fame credentials, and not being in the limelight, she's been in the shadow and behind Graf and Sellis and Capriati and the Williams sisters, and yet she's such a grand player.
She really is. She's a leader on and off the court. She wasn't always comfortable, though, with her height, her stature. She grew into it, and boy, did she do a makeover in the early to mid-90s. She came out on the tour, really, she was overweight. She wasn't able to reach her full potential, and then starting in about 96 with that gold medal in Atlanta, started to work harder.
Well, there have been 3 net cords that have all gone Molik's way, and that's the kind of thing that chews above the shoulders on you. You might wonder whether or not this is just not going to be your day. She's either 9th all time in wins, winning the gold in Atlanta.
And then the 98 U.S. Open over Hingis, that was just a huge moment. Got to #1 in the world for the first time about a month after that. She was really Hingis's main rival before the Williams sisters got their act together better. She stood the test of time, which is one of the things you look for in a champion. And if she can put in one more major 5 years after her last one, it'd be something special.
She said it amazed herself. Last year there were thoughts of maybe her career coming to an end, and then she had that incredible summer, winning 4 consecutive titles on her way to the U.S. Open and renewing her belief in herself. Finishes the year #1. She said, most of all, want to win one more slam. This might be her best chance. Not a lot of me-ism in Lindsay Davenport. She's represented her sport and herself magnificently, and well, she doesn't draw a lot of headlines. She's been wonderful to watch.
Those are great points to really swing freely from Molik's standpoint. It's 40-15 on the Davenport serve. Molik's clearly gotten into this quarterfinal after a slow start, so go ahead and swing freely, because let's face it, he's going to have to do that on some big points in this match. Some more Aussie humor going back and forth in the crowd.
Yeah, they know how to have a good time. You know, there's just even some little expressions that tell you how relaxed this country is. They don't say no problem. They say no worry, mate. No worry. Have at it.
How about people watching Federer last night from the stands in the evening, a very hot day, said that they were sweating more than Federer.
Both women hit the baseline.
That's why Davenport's won 3 majors, been the #1 in the world year in 3 different times, including 2004. She can just pin you to the baseline, and she actually hits behind Molik, but it was almost down the center of the court.
Molik serving under 45% for serves.
Well, and she just got a tick under 50%, but beat Venus the other night.
That return opened up the court for Davenport, and a love 30 lead for her.
But Dick, it's such a huge difference serving to Venus Williams right now and to Lindsay Davenport. Molik's going to have to serve a much better complete match against Lindsay Davenport, who doesn't give you as many free points on missed returns.
A yelp from Davenport, missing that backhand. It's not only Alicia Molik today, but Leighton Hewitt plays tonight. First time an Aussie man and woman made it to the quarterfinals since 1988. So a holiday celebration. This country that loves its tennis.
118 MPH.
Three all, 30 all opening set. Late call gives Davenport a point to take the lead.
Oh boy, that is a tough call at 3 all, 30 all, going against the Australian Open. Davenport ought to remember that if she gets a bad call later. Davenport throughout the tournament has been fantastic in converting her break points. 20 of 29 coming in here. She's 1 of 3. And remember, Molik does a good job fighting off break points, so that will be an interesting matchup as this match moves on.
.118 miles an hour, her fastest serve. Forehand secures the 4-3 game. And we're back in Melbourne. Rod Laver Arena outside in Melbourne Park. Those with tickets, they're singing inside.
Waltzing Matilda. Actually changed their national anthem. Used to be Waltzing Matilda. They used it as such, and then they changed it to Advance Australia Fair, but today that's renamed.
They're ready to wave the flags. Chastisement from Molik's end, missing that forehand.
Ooh, that match could last a while.
They've knocked out some of the Russian power, those two women.
Actually watched Deshi last week. Mishona Washington served for the match against Deshi in the second round.
Winner, Deshi or Schneider, will play the winner of this match. And of course, Nikolai Davydenko, a long shot, number 26 ranking, against Andy Roddick, will bring his big service game into Rod Laver. That match to follow here on ESPN2. Exclusive live coverage from Melbourne.
What's great about this major is that both draws have held up fairly well, the men's and the women's.
A couple of more points for 4-all for Davenport. She's serving only 53% first balls. Molik takes a long look at the baseline. It's called good. Confirmed by Andrea Segli in the chair. It's 4-all.
Well, it's the same baseline that Molik got a tough call in the last game. And that's exactly what happened to Molik's ball, but this time they got it right.
Exactly the same half of the ball. So Davenport benefits on both those calls, and it's 4-all.
See both Molik there tossing the ball up. It's very windy today, and the sun is just brutal down the far end of this court until about 2:30, 3 o'clock. Australia time, Melbourne time. See the shadow behind Molik. That means trouble.
The open roof. They did close it yesterday afternoon when the heat index rose before the men's matches, but both women's quarters were played in the heat of day with the roof open.
And you could see a little bit of cloud cover, which a lot of times it's not a full cloud cover, but it really can create a huge glare with the sun.
Current temperature is 91 degrees. It's at least 10 degrees or more hotter on the court. Humidity, fortunately, is low. Very breezy outside, but not much of that wind, of course, gets inside Rod Laver.
It swirls a bit down there, and usually up one end. The end where Davenport is with the wind. One of the big reasons why Molik is one of the 2 or 3 hottest players on the tour is because she has gotten fitter. You cannot play this kind of all-court style with a big serve unless you're extremely strong, and she's done a great job getting her core fitness, core strength better. She's done some plyometric work, all with her fitness coach, Chris Knight. Yeah, you do what he tells you.
A couple of big serves for Molik from 15-30 to gain point.
120. Very seldom do you see women's serves go over 120.
Went for too much.
Well, it's such a fine line. When you're in a match like this, you know you've got to play one of the best matches you've ever played against a player like Davenport. You've got to go for it, but ooh, and it's tense when you start to try to do it at 4-all, 40-30.
Another good serve. That one at 119.
Davenport might think about if Molik really gets this first serve in a groove, changing her return position a bit. She's come back a little off where she usually is.
The ball's called out, improperly so by Egli, as Davenport with a miss hit and landed right on the baseline.
Yeah, that was a knuckleball return that was awkward for Molik. Used to getting frozen ropes returns from Davenport, not a knuckler.
And bad luck.
Second serve, kicking up high, even for the 6'2.5" Davenport.
She really gets good action on it, doesn't she?
And the rebound ace courts only help it. It's like a little cricket move Molik did there. All-round athlete.
Yeah, a big double fault. Her second. Back to deuce. Tenuous time in this match late in the opening set. Davenport knows with a break here she could serve for the set lead.
Yeah, these are the kind of games that you just favor Davenport deep in a set. Molik playing her first ever quarterfinal in a major, 26th time for Davenport.
Good. That isn't. And there's the break point for Davenport.
Boy, Molik has got to come to net on shots like that. She had Davenport on the run with that sliced open racket face, and she let the ball bounce, giving Davenport time to get it back into play. Molik is a great volleyer, too. She's not using her net play well enough.
Both women outstanding doubles players. In fact, they're both in the semifinals of this championship. And there's the break for Davenport as the forehand goes awry from Alicia Molik. When we come back to Melbourne, it'll be Lindsay Davenport serving for a one-set lead. If you're in the north in Australia, that's the equivalent of the south of the United States. That's where it's really hot up in Queensland and where they enjoy the beaches. And
yeah, it's tropical up there. They grow all sorts of great tropical fruit. Lindsay Davenport knows that the backhand side of Alicia Molik is the side that cannot hurt you as much. So there you have it. You can see Davenport's been picking on the left side of the court, which is to Molik's backhand.
And now Davenport, the #1 seed, #1 in the world, serves for the opening set.
I saw that Molik has not ventured forward once in this match. She's had some opportunities, but she's trying to beat Davenport with big serves and big shots from the baseline, and she's eliminated that part of her game moving forward. Mind you, Davenport is not easy to come in against, but you've got to use it as at least for some variety.
But the line.
That's what David Taylor, her coach, Molik's coach, wants her to do, is really get on the second serve.
For Davenport, her third ace, matching Molik's total. There'll be a big ceremony between this match and the Andy Roddick match, celebrating the 100 years of Australian tennis, and of course all their great champions, and there's one of the best of all, Hall of Famer Ken Rosewall.
Nicknamed Muscles. I saw him eating an ice cream a little while ago, trying to put a little fat on his muscles. About, what, 5'6".
And with that forehand sailing just wide, Davenport has a set point.
remember a second serve on that same court. The last time Davenport hit the second serve, Molik scooted over to her left, hit a big forehand. Davenport remembers that, tries to do something a little more with the serve, gets a little shaky, double faults.
And comes back with a service winner and set point number 2.
Both players just under 50% with their first serves.
And with an ace, Lindsay Davenport takes the set 6-4. 40-minute set.
And 6 games to 4, battling for a spot in the women's semis here at the Australian Open. On Australia Day, we have a special guest in the studio, right between Brad and Mary Jo. You can find those in the trees wild about an hour from Melbourne, the koalas, but they look cuddly, but they're feisty, so don't touch them.
Okay.
They're protected, and they have nasty claws as well, right? So, first set, Lindsay really going to work on Molik's weaker wing, and even though she had that double at set point, able to steady herself.
Well, Lindsay Davenport, I think, is a little underrated with her strategy sometimes. She knows her opponent's weaknesses on the big point. She's going to serve to Molik's backhand. I think it's helping her that Molik's staying back. I think if Molik has the chance of getting back into this match, she really has to take more chances and venture forward, keep the ball low, and force Lindsay Davenport to come up with a passing shot.
It's really a test of that newfound belief and confidence that Molik professes. She's never taken a set from Lindsay. She's down a set now, and you saw the frustration at times in that second set.
And actually, Lindsay was quite frustrated with herself. She wasn't playing like, as she always says, I'm not hitting the ball well, but for her, she got through a set there, not playing that well, 6-4. I'm pushing my chips all forward. I'm all in. I like Lindsay's chances.
You did before the match. Yeah.
I know. I'm pushing them even more, and you guys were giving me grief when she was down 4-3.
All right, well, Molik just 1 of 2 Aussie national first set. Second set, early action, Davenport up the set back inside to Dick and Pam.
Okay, Chris. And, of course, the other quarterfinal match being played outdoors, so they're having to deal with the heat and the wind. Molik held easily to open this second set, and now it's Davenport on her serve 30-15.
Just a quick correction. I hate Vegemite. I'm married to an Australian, and I've never seen my husband bring Vegemite out during breakfast, thankfully. Very unique taste. That's being nice.
And Davenport logs her 5th ace.
And Molik logged her 4th one to hold her service game, opening game of this second set. And remember, she was broken in her opening game of the first set, so already a better start for the Australian. He looks like a Vegemite kid.
Deep in the corner, and a clean pass off the forehand. You mentioned that it's been since '88, 17 years since both a man and a woman from Australia advanced to the quarters. That was Pat Cash and Ann Minter, who made it to the quarters, but neither won the title. There's a doubles play, a little serve and volley from Davenport. It's 1-all.
And boy, Alicia Molik, maybe that'll sort of make her think, boy, maybe I should come to net. She still hasn't been to net in this match. And both these players are still in the doubles. They're both in the semifinals here. When Molik does come to net, as she did against Venus, she's very effective.
Molik is playing with Svetlana Kuznetsova, and Karina Moriarty is Davenport's doubles partner. So they could meet again in doubles, these two.
You could see against Venus Williams the other day, service percentage is about the same, but look at the drop-off on first serve points won and second serve points won. That validates the point we talked about earlier, that Davenport is just plain old better at returning serves than just about anybody else, but especially Venus.
Had it set up with that slice backhand and then saw the open court, but mishit.
Well, whenever you have two backhands, and I only had the one, the slice, but certainly a lot of decisions to make, and that ball bounced up high, and that makes it tough to hit over it. It's much easier to hit the slice, knife it cross court and short.
Matches Davenport's ace total at 5. Out from Egley, the chair umpire, and that's the second time there's been no call by the linesperson at this end. Appeared to be out. From our angle, it's at our end, but I was wrong. Right on the line.
And he overruled that? I mean, come on. This is why the USTA and the US Open are looking at electronic line calling. They've actually formed a task force. Look at trying to implement it, even for this year's U.S. Open.
This is
And here a break point. John Newcomb and Yvonne Guilherme Cawley. Two great Australian champions and two of the most popular ever.
Wollongong won this championship 4 times. Margaret Court got into her way a few times. Hey, she's at net, and she forced an error on a huge point. That was break point. First time for the match on such a big point. She actually has snuck in twice now to the net. I must say the first time I didn't notice.
Very evenly played, these two women. Second break point here to take the lead in the second set for Davenport. Tense rally ends with the error from Molik, and Davenport leads by a set in the break.
She had gone from phenom to forgotten. But then Jennifer Capriati recommitted herself to the game she loved. In 2001, seeded 12th, Capriati battled her way through the field to win her first ever Grand Slam title here in Melbourne. She would defend that title the following year. On this 100th anniversary of the Australian Open, we remember one of the greatest comebacks in the history of tennis, courtesy of Jennifer Capriati.
And with an injury she's missed in the 2005 championship, but Hingis was up a set and 4-love in the second.
Fought off 4 championship points as the defending champion in 2002. It was one of the most extraordinary things I've ever seen on a tennis court. And the year before, when she finally won a major after all the trials and tribulations, that was a very emotional time.
Big service game for Lindsay Davenport, just like a baseball pitcher who gets a couple of runs, goes back out there. You want to shut him out the next inning and consolidate your advantage.
Center of the court play working well, forcing the error from Davenport. Davenport's sister was here the first week and replaced in week 2
by husband John Leach.
That's a good trade-up.
Dad was the coach at Southern California for so many years, and Rick Leach, his brother, still playing some doubles. Davenport clipped the line twice. Half frustration and half wonder from Molik that those balls, one of them, wasn't long.
You know, the Aussie crowd has booed a couple of times. We've seen some bad calls today. Several of them.
Boy, that's double protection there. Double hat, the towel.
Players are fortunate that this very slight cloud cover is really helping. I mean, anytime it's above 90 degrees here and you can get any relief from the direct sunlight, the sun down here is just stronger than the summer sun back in the northern hemisphere. It's brutal.
Second ball at 30-15. Davenport 6-4 and 2-1.
That point started with Molik gambling off the second serve.
.2000 champion Davenport looking for her half-century 50th win here today at the Australian Open.
That's rarefied air. Oh! Only the greatest ones get 50 or more titles.
Has 50 match wins. Oh my! Unloaded that forehand, did Molik, and she has a break point. Get right back into the second set. There's Lindsay going for 50, and you see that's elite company more than Graf or Navratilova, Hingis, or Sellis. The open era.
She actually has 45 titles. Which again, very lofty. I mean, she has been at such a high level for over a decade now.
Well, double fault, and they're back on serve. Molik says thank you. Well, no player at any level likes to double fault, to lose a critical game and the lead in the set. Painful.
Davenport's coach, Adam Peterson. That's letting the crowd back into the match as well.
23rd unforced error from Molik. 5 more than Davenport, but she has also trails in winners 12-6. I'm sorry, 12 all. They have 12 winners each. She has 6 in this set. There's that serve out wide, and she can hit that corner.
Well, again, hitting those spots in the crucial moments. Can she do it to win a set? She's never won a set against Davenport. Biggest match of her career.
Showing good composure, even though she's trailing. Went too many times to the backhand.
Well, Molik is just pounding this center of the court, and you can see Davenport then doesn't have the angle to work with. Smart play. So there was a point where Molik actually went to the extremes. Davenport hit a pretty good backhand cross-court, and Molik's not as comfortable hitting on the run. Nobody is, except maybe Federer.
He's comfortable at everything, isn't he?
You name it.
2-all, 30-all, second set.
And the Williams sisters are terrific on the run as well, but for the most part, you like to have some time.
On occasion, she unloads that big forehand.
Well, this is the green light forehand. Center of the court. The ball's not that deep from Davenport. You need to go for those. Molik saying there's a million lets. We hope not. We'll be here a while.
And another forehand winner. Davenport by a set. On serve, 3-2 in the second.
Second set inside Rod Laver Arena. Meanwhile, with all Aussie eyes on the Molik-Davenport match, next to her at Margaret Court Arena, a very small crowd. Unfortunate for Natalie Deschy and Patty Schneider, who's receiving serve top of your screen. This is set point number 5 for Schneider from Switzerland. The fist pump finally 7-5 over the Frenchwoman. But just a few hundred folks watching that match in a packed house inside Rod Laver Arena. Back to Dick and Pam.
All right, thank you, Chris. The number 12 seed, Schneider, has played well down here and has a set to go to meet the winner of this battle in the semifinals.
It actually adds a little pressure to this match, is because the draw for Lindsay Davenport or Alicia Molik really favors them. The winner of this match would be a pretty heavy favorite against the winner of Schneider or Deschy, although Schneider got the semis here last year. She's tough on this rebound eights course, and of course the rematch of last year's Wimbledon final on the other.
Great effort by Molik to force Davenport to hit another ball.
That's where all that off-season fitness work, the training, the losing of some weight, getting stronger in your legs. Get to those extra balls. You might win 1 or 2 in a match. And also you recover so much better. She's playing singles and doubles here. Tough match against Venus the other night, 2 nights ago.
Yeah, the net cord really teed it up for Molik.
That's why the majors are so tough. It's over 2 weeks. The schedule can play some, have something to do with this. Remember, the winners of matches today don't have a day off between their semifinal. They split up the 2 quarterfinals, halves of the draw. This is unique to this tournament. The schedule today, I actually thought it was unfair that Deschy and Schneider were playing their match on Margaret Court Arena.
Yeah, that surprised me too.
Instead, they played Woodbridge, who's a doubles legend down here. He played their men's doubles match first on instead of playing the other women's quarterfinal.
Yeah, in full fairness, you would have thought both the matches would have been played on the same court, but not the case. And Davenport holds to go 3-all here in the second. And we remind you that following this quarterfinal match, these 2 gentlemen, Davydenko from Moscow and Roddick, United States, will battle for their place in the semifinals. Roger Federer, Murat Safin will play in one semifinal. And the winner of the Roddick Davydenko will meet Nalbandian or Leighton Hewitt. Carefully placed in the corner.
This is where the confidence of Alicia Molik will really be tested. She's won so many matches in the last 5 months. Beaten some big opponents, won some huge tournaments for her. Won a Tier 1 last fall in Europe, in Zurich. Won Sydney, which is the second biggest tournament in Australia, the week before this one.
4 titles in the last 5 months for Molik, so she's just stormed into the top 10 in the world. And that made headline news here in Australia. The first in the top 10 in 20 years since Wendy Turnbull.
The rabbit. Look at that. 35-4 since August. And before that, January to July, 22-17, no titles. And the Olympic bronze medal, the first singles medal for Australia in tennis.
Anastasia Miskina for the bronze.
And her coach, David Taylor, said that win over Miskina for the bronze medal is what really has started this run. Gave her the confidence.
Oh, bullet return set it up, but Davenport can't convert. 4-3 on serve in the second. Pleased to be part of the celebration this centenary year for the Australian Open. And this championship and the weather coming to a boil. Number 1 seed Davenport up a set, serving at 3-4 here in the second.
This is where Alicia Molik will call on the last 5 months. The buildup of confidence. You know, some people, some players, particularly in the women's game, gain that confidence at such an early age, in their teenage years, at 16, 17, 18 years. Molik's one of the rare ones that builds the confidence in her mid-20s, 24 years of age tomorrow. And if she stays healthy and keeps improving, she can stay in the top 10 for many years. So if everybody gets healthy in women's tennis, Dick, that top 10 is going to get very crowded.
Yeah, we miss the 2 Belgians and Capriati. 30-15 after Davenport had offered her 6th ace.
Gambling on the second serve. You can see before it struck, Molik's already moving to the center of the court to hit the big forehand. So 9th winner off that wing.
Davenport very steady on her serve. 2 points for 4 all.
Davenport, for such a high-risk player, someone who hits the ball hard off both sides, serves hard. She really is a control player as well. Controlled power.
Overpowering with those groundies. 4 all, and it was at 4 all in the opening set that Molik was broken and Davenport served it out. Take a look at the American Express match summary. Neither woman serving as well as they'd like, but as you can see, Davenport with more success.
Look at Molik, 2 for 2 on the break points. I mean, when she gets an opportunity, she's cashed in. Davenport 3 of 6 isn't too bad.
American Express serving for Aces Charity donates $100 to the Kids Tennis Foundation. Every ace served here on Rod Laver Arena Court. And these 2 women have contributed 11 aces to the cause. And 488 total as we approach $50,000 going to kids tennis here in this country.
Have a whole new outlook of aces after seeing Johansson the other day, 51 against Agassi. That's a double center play. Up the middle with the serve into the body of Davenport, and then hit to the center there. It's a big Aussie flag. Wow.
That helicopter, you can hear it grinding away overhead, just above the roof. There's the outside Rod Laver. Thousands out in the Garden watching on the big screen. That was amazing last night. It cost $25 Australian to even get into the grounds, and there were literally thousands outside Rod Laver just to watch Agassi and Federer on the big screen. Be in the environment.
That's right. You can still hear the roars of the crowd from Rod Laver. And
it is the national holiday, the Founders' Day, equivalent to our Independence Day in the States. And they're here to cheer Alicia Molik and Leighton Hewitt on this quarterfinal Wednesday. It'll be Davenport serving this day. Yeah, there'll be the fireworks tonight. Kids' summer coming to an end. They'll be back in school soon. Australia Day is being celebrated here at Melbourne Park. Now inside the Rod Laver Arena.
she can break serve here. Alicia Molik will advance to a third set and take a set off Davenport for the first time ever.
Here's the first point.
And here's the crowd.
There's not total belief. There's only want in those cheers now. But if she gets into a third set, watch out.
That's the chip return. It's firm, it stays low, and Davenport does not like it.
Molik 2 points from the set. I don't like it when Davenport hurries like that in such a crucial point. But Molik has 3 set points.
And Davenport's hurrying again. It's almost like she wants to keep the crowd out of it by rushing.
Or that she's lost faith at this point. And there's another double fault. Now, body language just told you all you needed to know. Molik donated 2 double faults by Davenport and the set. They'll play 1 for the semis.